like right before you're having a panic attack, but right before that is like this place of euphoria.
Yeah.
And you can't cross that line on any level.
I had to put mine away.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is enough. The rest is for tomorrow.
I battle with this all the time.
Yeah, I like to feel like I'm about to have an anxiety attack. That's the amount of coffee that I want to drink.
Yeah, you need to just not cross that line. It's very tough. Where are you all? You're all in Cleveland? Or?
We're in Cleveland, yeah.
Nice.
I'm sober now, so like that's the only high I get.
Me too.
Like the kind of like caffeine sweats and your chest is pounding. You're like, I'm alive.
For me to get high, yeah, I'm sober too. For me to get like the buzz, I have to like wake up, meditate, exercise, and then take a cold shower and drink coffee, and I'll feel like I'll feel like a nice buzz.
You do that cold shower in the morning?
Yeah. Well, I take a bath every morning. I read in the bath. It's the whole thing. It's weird. Whatever.
Did you drop a bath bomb?
I should, honestly, because I do it so much, but I have not really got into the accoutrements. But I just read. That's where I read, and I don't know. It's just become part of my routine. It's like away from my phone, so I'll read while drinking coffee after a cold shower, and like I'll fucking at a certain moment you get that coffee and you're reading something you like, and you hit that buzz. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
I'm always interested in like what meditation books people are reading.
Oh, I'm not reading meditation books. I'm just reading books. I meditate earlier.
Fucking nerd.
I just read like regular books. You're all like comics in Cleveland?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Cool. I performed at a theater there. I like opened for Kathleen Madigan some, and she performed at what's the theater? Like I performed at a theater there. And I remember
anywhere in Playhouse Square.
I think it was Playhouse Square, yeah. There.
Nice.
And then I went to a bar afterwards, and it really was just like all like white polo shirt men, like in the same age. It really was like so. It just felt so homogenous, and so devoid of culture. But no offense,
No, you're totally right. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Ohio's weird. It's like, or at least Cleveland doesn't seem to have. But it's just white.
We don't have like comedy kids that come and see shows. We have like business people come and see shows, or like just like there's such a demographic, and I'm not a fan of it, honestly.
We are white in Cleveland.
Right, yeah.
Right. We're all the same, man. I open my closet and it's just a series of pastel blue button downs and khakis. That's it. Actually, it was funny. Steve and I were getting lunch on a patio like 2 years ago in downtown Cleveland. And this was like when everybody was taking their lunch break. And everybody was wearing the same thing. It was like a parade of the same. It was like the opening credits of Weeds, where everything is just like the same.
Tiny little boxes. Yeah. That's that one time I was in Cleveland. I was like, wow, this is exactly. I love when I go to a city and my stereotypes are immediately confirmed. I'm like, I guess I should be judging books by their covers. Right.
I will say downtown. I will say downtown for a Kathleen Madigan show, you're gonna get a lot of people from the suburbs. So, whereas if it were like a rock show or something, like you would get people from all walks of life.
Right.
Or if you were to go to like, just some of the outlying neighborhoods, there's some pretty diverse places here, but downtown
I know you got like a couple black guys. And like 3 out of every 20 people. So
boat shoes, khakis, and polos. Was that what we saw?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
If those 3 things were a person, that was everybody. So what is this podcast about? Well, essentially what we do is we bring in comics who have a bit that takes a topic that has on any level, whether it being hack, offensive, emotionally charged, blue, whatever, has been deemed at least once in time that you can't laugh at that. And And so we talk about why it's funny, how you like initially found it to be funny, how you worked it into a bit. And then, we get into the psychology of it. We get into the breaking down of the bit, and we kind of just let the conversation go wherever and tie it into the theme at the end. So,
oh, cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's something I'm pretty obsessed with. I always have been. It's just like, why do we find things funny? Like what elicits that laughter?
Right.
If more people got the reference, we would have called the podcast Killing the Frog.
Yeah.
Killing the frog. Wait, I don't get the reference.
How does it go again, David? It's like
if you put a frog in a pot of
no, if you explain a joke, not only is it not funny, but it kills the frog, or it's like dissecting a frog. I forget. You get it's like I can
by dissecting the frog, you kill it.
Yeah, it's like it's twofold. I just forget how it goes. Doesn't really matter. But.
I like how you're like smugly like we would have done this if we got the reference. If anyone got the reference, even though it seems like I don't get the reference either.
This is what it is. The frog dies. That's how it ends. It's like dissecting a frog. Dissecting a comedy is like dissecting a frog. No one gets anything out. No, it's not funny. I don't know. That's how obscure it is. Analyzing humor is like dissecting a frog. Few people are interested in the frog dies because of it.
Isn't that like Steve Martin quote?
I don't know. It's E.B. White.
E.B. White? But he was talking about comedy?
Yeah. Humor.
It's hilarious Charlotte's Web, or what comedy is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I could be misattributed too.
The master of comedy, writer of The Elements of Style, E.B. White, one of the funniest one of the funniest grammar books ever.
Right, yeah.
Roald Dahl's pretty funny.
Roald Dahl's great. Schnozberries, come on.
Well, it's also he's like more anti-Semitic than like any other writer ever.
That doesn't surprise me somehow.
Like one of his quotes was, he's talking about Jews. He's like, even that old stinker Hitler must have had a reason to hate the Jews, which is so offensive on so many reasons. But like just the fact they called him an old stinker.
Yeah. It's like Gary Gulman's like just those shenanigans.
Yeah, Hitler shenanigans.
Like that. Yeah.
Is that jokes are frogs, and if you kiss them, they become princes.
That's true. That's a good point.
I do kiss my jokes.
Roald Dahl, very anti-Semitic, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
I think
look at everything that
was Jewish in Willy Wonka.
Who was?
Slugworth.
Is that the spy?
The bad guy.
That's the bad guy. Wait, but not really the bad guy.
No, you're right though, so maybe not. He's got to be a permanent bad guy.
The bad guy are the kids. Well, I always thought like it would be interesting if like one of the kids was Jewish and he got like kicked out right away. You know what I mean? Or if he was just like
TV.
I'm more excited than on my first day of Hanukkah, and then immediately just cut to Oompa Loompa.
Just escort him out.
Yeah.
I think for real though, Charlie's grandfather was the real villain. He was constantly tempting him to like. Well, first of all, he's stuck in bed for. Well,
he also made him eat a chocolate bar that he had under his old ass for like God knows how long.
Yeah.
This chocolate bar I kept warm between my wrinkly taint all these years, and now you got to eat it in front of me. Eat it. Don't eat it all at once. I know you're gonna want to. I think what Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is actually about. This is not funny, but this is just what I think my analysis is that Willy Wonka is Roald Dahl. Like he created this imaginary world, and Charlie is the ideal kid that doesn't exist. And all the other kids are real kids. So it's this guy who created this imaginary world, but hates children. And you can't just be perfectly logical either. You got to have, I argue with my roommate all the time because he's like, doesn't, he thinks police brutality doesn't affect like there's not a racial bias. And I'm like, of course there is. And he's like, well, statistically, this and all this shit. And it's like, he's wrong on many levels, but at a certain point I'm getting like upset at him. And he's like, why are you getting so emotional? It's like, it's okay to get emotional when you see black people getting killed all the time by cops. Like it's weird not to get a little emotional. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of like the whataboutism. Like, what about if they're brutalizing more white people per capita than black people, then there's still a police brutality issue.
Yeah.
Even still.
And they're not brutalizing them. I mean,
right.
per capita. But, but then he was like, well, per capita of the amount of people the cops deal with on every day. And I'm like, well, yeah, but they're there because they're racially profiling so much. But anyway, the point is, it's like, it's okay to be a little upset in your argument. It's honestly weird to not have any emotion. If you just have no emotion in your argument, that's also bad, Because then you start saying black people getting killed by the police is just a media sensation. There's just a media sense. It's like, well, no, it's not. But also, like, I don't like seeing videos of cops killing black people. Like, the news didn't invent those videos; they still exist. You know what I mean?
Right. Police corruption is still an enormous problem.
Yeah,
it's like,
so you got to have some emotion. Yeah, the balance. You got to have some emotion, but you got to have logic, and you don't want to go too far one way or the other. Like coffee, like fucking coffee. You got to have that perfect balance.
Yeah.
That's a good callback.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make up for being so not funny on this.
Oh, dude, don't worry. It's okay. We get it.
Yeah, we have a balance of episodes, man.
I was hoping he'd be like, yeah, you're being plenty funny, but instead he's like, dude, don't worry about it.
We've only had like a handful of people where they really drilled in being on all the time. It's like, don't worry about it. We don't need you to prove yourself. It's right. I could try to be more funny, but I just don't care right now. And don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm not worrying. I wasn't really that worried before either.
It's all right. We're good. Yeah. We have like the last episode that we put out, there were the conversation naturally led to jokes in some places and in other points. It was like we were really hammering home on like psychology, and there's like nothing innately funny there,
I'm also just in a weird, I don't know. I've been cooped up in the winter, and I'm not getting enough sun. I feel very, I feel very down and angry.
Same.
Vitamin D is super important.
I know. Oh yeah, I should take that right now. I know. I need to fucking tell you. Yeah, I feel like I'm Rush Limbaugh on here just yelling.
It'd be funny if you took the vitamin D and instantly you're just like, I feel so much better.
Yeah. just like it's a magic bullet.
You ever know, like I just start doing stand up.
He reanimated.
I fucking turned this podcast around.
Yeah. That was Rush's problem too. He didn't get enough vitamin D. I don't need that shit.
What's amazing about him is that, like, every time, this is how hateful he is. Like, anytime I've taken like a couple painkillers, I've like loved all of humanity. Like, anytime I take a Viking and I would hug Hitler. I'm serious. And the fact that he could be so hateful while that fucking high on that much OxyContin is incredible. It's like, I mean, like, that didn't make you feel some sense of like, hey, we're all great.
He was on drugs, right? So
yeah, he was so high. He was on so many more painkillers than I took. Wow. And he was still like, fuck everything. It's like, man, those drugs that chill you down a little. It's like, it makes you wonder, like, that's how much hate he had while just being high. Imagine the hate he would have without the drugs.
Yeah.
But
it's like, how do you wake up every day and tell yourself, I get to scare the nation's grandparents for a living?
But you know what's interesting? I listened to his farewell speech, on his show, and it was really, I'm very interested in like people who are like, they're like, well, they're a piece of shit, but they obviously don't know they're a piece of shit, or maybe they do. I'm so interested in like to just know what they're thinking and what they're, what is their. Are they just literally like us, where they think they're doing the right thing and they're just wrong from our perspective? What's going on here? Like, what is their thoughts? But it was so interesting to listen to the farewell because it was so sentimental to the point where if you didn't know who he was, you just think of anyone else's farewell. He's just like, I want to thank all my listeners and my wife through getting me through all these hard times, and just family is so important right now. And I'm like, God damn, he is talking about the same shit everyone else is talking about. It's fascinating to me. It's like, what? And I'm not saying he's not a piece of shit, but like, I'm so fascinated by the common humanity, even amongst pieces of shit,
Yeah.
You can have a conversation with anybody if you can find that common thread, that common ground, like whether it's family, whether it's money, whether it's the Ohio State Buckeyes,
Right. I mean, Trump seems to be like the exception to that rule, where he's like,
that dude's not a person.
He's just like not a person, but he's fucked everything up too, though. Cause like, he's so cartoonishly bad that he's taken away our ability to view other people with nuance. Mm-hmm. But it's like most people aren't him. Most people you can kind of view with nuance, but he's so binary himself that he's infected us with his binariness to a point where it's like, I don't know. I mean, I do think like, you know, I guess I don't care that everyone made fun of Rush Limbaugh in tweets when he died. And granted, I did too, kind of. But it does make you wonder, like, would we have been doing this if Trump wasn't around? Did Trump insert a meanness in everyone, you know?
I think everybody just feels like they're building up the same currency to fight it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just seems
what do you mean? Like how
it seems like the new standard he set, because everybody's becoming more petty because we have to, we feel like some people feel like we have to match the fire with fire against all that pettiness with more pettiness.
Yeah. And
which is bad.
I think it is bad because I don't know. I mean, I definitely think conservatives who like Rush Limbaugh, when they hear every liberal just laughing at him being dead, they're definitely like, well, these fucking people are the enemy.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
Yes.
So I'm like, maybe that's not the greatest place to start him. But at the same time, but here's the thing. I also support any joke making fun of him. I guess what I don't like is the non-jokes. That's what offends me when people are just like, I'm fucking happy that piece of shit's dead. I'm like, either tell a joke or shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's tasteless to be happy when people are dead, but I also think you should be able to make fun of anyone who's dead. So like, I'm okay with the jokes, but not okay. Like when John McCain died, I was fine with jokes about it, but anyone who was just like happily like glad that he was dead, which was a lot of people, which is pretty fucked up in general. But like, you know, I just, you know, I find that I do think like it is interesting to take a step back and be like, how much of this meanness is because of Trump has left his mark on all of us.
Yeah. I feel different about the two, obviously, though, because McCain, in most people's view, McCain was a decent person.
But yeah,
despite his politics.
100%. But so many far left morons were fucking making fun of him when he died. It was really upsetting. Like, or not making fun is once again fine, but like just saying they're happy he died, which is like really upsetting. Yeah. No, I mean, the two extremes are bad. The right is obviously worse.
Yes.
But like the left extreme is bad, is really bad, and I see it more, so I'm way more annoyed by it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not very vocal about it either, because I just don't want to stir up the pot because I'm so much more closely in proximity to that. But I'm just not that person.
Yeah, well, no one should have a real like just opinion on Twitter or Facebook ever. Like
you're getting shamed for being not left enough with your friends. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, people are getting shamed for being like moderate, which is hilarious. Like, or like I just want to be moderate. Like, that's a side, fuck you. You know, like it's like, you know, yeah, it's
being moderate is not always an indication of indecisiveness. It just means that you know that either side is a little bit too extreme for you.
I mean, I'm like philosophically moderate. Like I like the Aristotelian thing. I'm philosophically believe a balance is correct. I don't know if that makes me like a moderate in terms of I'm probably closer to like the, you know, far left than the Democrats, you know, like than the centrists, but like I do believe in moderation in general, you know. Right. I realized the far left were nuts when they're all going to pretend they didn't do this, but so many people on the far left tweeted about how they weren't going to vote for Biden. And that's when I really, that's
where you know they're logically bankrupt.
Yes. And that's when I saw a disconnection. Well, that was the moment when they tweeted that. That was the moment where I realized so many of them are disconnected from reality. And then and a lot of them, you know, eventually voted for Biden. A lot of them pretended, you know, but like there was a time where they were tweeting about they weren't going to, and you know, whatever.
They're both just as bad. No, they're not. You fucking moron. You're so stupid. Yeah, you're so dumb. That's why I don't like them.
Yeah,
it's like you're dumb.
So reductive. It's just dumb, and it's a lot. It's just disconnected. It's like the right wing people. It's disconnected from reality. It really is, and it's so infused with this dogma, this complete social democratic dogma to the point where you're not like realizing we're in a serious emergency situation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't think I think in emergency situations, you have to act differently.
Yeah.
Like, I think criticizing Biden to a big degree during the election is a bad decision because we were in an emergency situation. This isn't normal times. We're like, we're like the submarine is sinking, and you gotta like, you gotta like be a little like, just keep all the criticism down until let's just focus on getting Trump out,
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. They're
right.
like, well, we don't want to we want to compromise. They don't want to compromise. They just have this wish list of things that are very fantastical. And they're like, yeah, I want all this to happen or else I'm not voting. It's like, well, you're fucking dumb.
Yeah. At a certain point, you're like, you talk shit about so many politicians. You're like, well, you just don't like politics. You just don't like politics. You don't understand. Like, politics is about compromising. It is about getting as many votes as possible. You just don't like politics. So you're going to hate anything within that time. And now, of course, AOC is not liberal enough for people, which at this point is like, maybe we've gone too far. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the reason why it was good to have somebody like Biden, hopefully, to just kind of center things a little bit. You needed it. Everything. Yeah. You
needed the opposite of instability. You needed the opposite of a revolution. People are like, we don't want a fucking revolution. Fuck that. We want to just have things. We just want things to go back on some level.
Temper, no deaths.
Yeah. Let's. Because obviously things can get better, but what we also learned is they can get a lot worse.
For sure. And my whole thing is like, it's just, we are, as far as we know, alone in a vast, ever expanding universe. Are we really going to argue about like silly shit? I mean, are we really going to waste our time talking about this guy that has always been a con man? He's always been he's never had like an idea. How are we going to talk? How are we going to let this guy dominate the conversation when there are things that we can do to figure out the planet that we're on, so that we can figure out everything that's going on around us? And I love how, like, I've been paying a lot of attention to this Mars rover. Like, that's something that interests me because it's something that can create a massive shift. Like, it can inspire people to innovate and come up with new shit and try new things. And like,
let me ask you, I got a little, maybe I'm kind of dumb, but like, the rover, everyone made a big deal about the Mars rover, which I think is cool, but we've already had a rover up there, right?
Oh yeah, we've had a bunch.
People are so excited. I was like, wait, did a man land on Mars? I like looked it up.
With all new technology, like, we're getting more high-res pictures. They have a helicopter.
Really? I gotta watch the footage.
Yeah, they have a helicopter up there now. It's the first time they've ever had like a hovercraft on Mars, just because the atmosphere is so thin. But they found a way to to have a helicopter go up and like take drone shots, and they're going to be collecting soil and rocks and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if we've never had anything where we've collected like soil samples from Mars and then brought it back.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah,
that is
They're
crazy.
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say sometimes,
or at least they're going to be able to, or the I don't know if they're going to bring it back, or the rover itself has like the tools to analyze what's in it.
I will say sometimes the headline makes me think of something really cool, and then it's always like, life found on Mars. And you look it up and it's like a fucking fossil of a molecule was under this rock. There may have been life 40 billion years ago. And I'm like, show me an alien now or shut the fuck up.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to see your amino acids.
Yeah, I don't need to see fucking chemical. Like, show me a guy with the big head who's like has a laser gun. I don't need. There was once water here 4 trillion years ago. Isn't this crazy news? No, it's not crazy news.
The thing that's cool about it, though, is at the rate that technology is developing.
I really offended you there. You're like, the thing though that is cool about
you know what's
I can tell I really hurt your feelings. But what is cool?
Yeah, I will. Trigger warning.
But I mean, it is like they're like, we went to Mars, and I'm like, wait a minute, a rover again? You can't say we went to Mars all excitedly when it's just a rover again. Like, I thought there was gonna be a person on there.
Yeah, they need to have more news stories like this, so that we stop talking about this Trump guy and start talking about things that people are actually doing to make the world better.
What's really annoying is that technology has moved so fast, except for the shit that actually seems cool. Yeah. Like space colonies and being on Mars. Like everyone's like, technology is moving so fast. I'm like, I thought we'd be on Mars like 20 years ago. What do you mean it's moving fast?
Yeah. I remember a rover 20 years ago.
Yeah, can something cool from my visions of childhood happen? But
I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out, because in the room that I'm in, there's two wall sockets over here on this side of the room, but there's nothing over here. And all of my cords are like too short, and all of my extension cords are being used on things. So instead of doing, I was working on like a virtual speaking presentation. Instead, I turned on the camera once I got everything set up and riffed for 10 minutes on how much further along humankind would be if we figured out how to eliminate all cords. Make everything like Bluetooth. Like that's why we had a rover on Mars 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever. And
there's an old Brian Regan bit about that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, all I was going to say is the reason that we haven't gone any faster is we haven't found a cord long enough to make sure it's like plugged in. And
I know it is kind of like it is. It is. Technologies move very fast, but very slow in other ways. You know,
right?
So it is kind of I mean, once again, it's like every article is like technology moving so fast. And you're reading about it during a plague, like we're in the 1500s, and you're fucking. The future is coming without any hesitation. It's coming too fast. Biotech, and you're in your house watching them storm the Capitol during a plague, like we're in the France in the 1600s.
You know why that is? It's because of religion. I mean, just being so married to this one belief, and it's unwavering and true no matter what.
Well, I mean, QAnon is basically a religion. Trumpism is a religion. Well, everything is. I feel like everything's kind of religion on some level.
The Constitution.
It's all mythology and
dogmatic.
Right.
Well, it's also all kind of like,
You can't laugh at that.